Hello, everybody. This is Doc Ollie, and today I have a very nice product to introduce you to. It is something I use every day, every single day, in the morning, at noon, in the evening, since quite a few months. And today, a really good product was launched here in the US and in Europe. So you finally can get what we call the hydrogen enriched water bottle. This is how you create hydrogen on the go. And so first, before I show you the bottle, how it operates, I just wanted to show you a little bit what is the science behind it and why would you want to have a bottle like that so you can create your own hydrogen water on the go. For that, I will move a little ahead here. Just bear with me. And I'm going to make myself a little smaller so you can see this. Well, hydrogen, of course, is the first element in the periodic table, if you remember from high school or a biochemistry class. And why is that important? Well, this is the smallest and the most basic element on which even Earth was built on. Now, when you look at hydrogen, hydrogen is really what we call a powerful reducer, compared to oxygen or other free radicals, which are powerful oxidizers. So when you oxidize something, it typically destroys it, and when you reduce it, it protects it. So antioxidants are reducers. And molecular hydrogen is considered a novel antioxidant capable of reducing oxidative stress. And I say novel in parentheses because it was found hundreds of years ago, and then of course it's not novel at all because, as I said, our planet and probably universe is built with it. So what's so special about hydrogen? Well, hydrogen is so small, it's the smallest element, as you have seen, that it can really penetrate everything in your body. It can penetrate every cell, and it can interact with your cells on a molecular level, meaning that it can go inside the cell and then collaborate or interact with the different structures within the cell. Okay, so what happens when you have hydrogen and oxygen? Well, these two come together and form H2O. And what is H2O? Well, H2O is water. And so this is how it's produced. You take an energy source, such as a battery here, and then two plates. Hopefully you will take some, or you have a product that has titanium plates, because then you get very clean and good quality hydrogen water. You can also use inferior grade metals, such as aluminum and others. I wouldn't suggest that because that could be toxic. But when you have these two plates, optimally again titanium plates, and you put currents to them, it will do something to the water. And that's what's going to happen. You see here on the left side, you have two water atoms, two H2O. And then when you separate that, you get two H2, basically hydrogens, and then O2, oxygen. So how cool is that? You can just take regular water and separate it into hydrogen and oxygen. And that's how it's done. You take a glass of water, for example, here, and then you put two electrodes into it. One electrode will donate electrons. That's typically what we call the cathode, where you donate minus. And then on the anode, you're going to get the pluses. And what happens is, if you have water in this glass and you put these two electrodes inside, then it will start separating the water in the reaction I just showed you on the previous slide. And when you do that, then you're going to have the H pluses that will accumulate it around this minus electrode. And because it's minus, it will donate electrons, and the H plus will now become H. And then H is not really happy alone. So when you have a one H and another H, it all comes together and forms H2. And that's how hydrogen is really stable and happy. Now on the other side, where you have the pluses coming in, you're going to generate O2, or in other words, oxygen. So again, how cool is that? Here we can take water in a bottle on the go, regular water, and we can separate it into H2, hydrogen, and O2, oxygen. And so if it goes into your cells, you're going to have an effect that, one, you bring oxygen into your cell, which is a good thing because now the cell can work with the oxygen and produce energy and all the other things. But the downside of that reaction is when oxygen is used up, it always creates free oxygen radicals, which are damaging to the cell. That's why the cells try to build antioxidants, what we call internal antioxidants, and buffer those free radicals created by oxygen. Now, if you bring in hydrogen water, hydrogen-enriched water, not only are you getting oxygen into the cell, but also the hydrogen, the H2. And the H2, the hydrogen, as we saw, is a really, really powerful antioxidant. So first you bring oxygen to your cell. Now your cell works at a better rate. And now you bring hydrogen into the cell to buffer the free radicals that are created in the reaction. What is the waste product of this? It's called H2O. It's water. So look, one, you create oxygen in the cell. Two, you buffer it right away with the hydrogen. And three, as a waste product, you create water, which hydrates basically your cells. So you will never be dehydrated anymore because, hopefully, because you get hydration at the cellular level. So is that the same like alkaline water? Well, yes and no. So when you look at alkaline waters, the reaction that is produced by these devices is exactly the same. You take water, you take a plus and a minus electrode, but the difference is in the middle, you put a semi-permeable membrane. And what happens is that the H pluses that are created here on the right side can now move over to the other side and then receive their electrons and become H2 or hydrogen. And they cannot go backwards because there's a membrane in the middle that will only allow them to flow one side. So this side automatically becomes alkaline, whereas the other side is becoming acidic. And then what they do in the alkaline water industry, they just take this part of the water and sell it to you as alkaline water. So what is really the effect of alkaline water? Because when you really think about it, your body has the ability to really quickly kind of equalize the pH, we call the acidity or the alkalinity of your body. As long as you have lungs that work well and kidneys that work well, it's not really doing any major thing, because what happens is your stomach will just produce a little more acid to neutralize the alkaline water. But then the research shows that there's some benefits to having alkaline water. And so the question is always, well, if some of us do not really believe too much in alkaline water, why would it then show some benefits in research? Well, the solution or the answer to that question is it's the hydrogen. Because even if you create a very weak hydrogen solution, like in alkaline waters that they sell, it's still hydrogen. And we know today from research that hydrogen is extremely, extremely beneficial to the body. So I think for me, you know, if I would choose between something that generates high alkaline water or something that generates right away the pure hydrogen in the water, that's what I'm going to go for, the hydrogen producing, because it's so much stronger than what you would do when you just separate the two. So that's kind of the little thing there. Let me just go back in here and show you what we can do. Well, this hydrogen bottle is pretty cool because it can produce 900 parts per million of hydrogen, which is really the best it's in class right now. Most bottles do anywhere between 50 and maybe 300 ppm or parts per million. Again, like when you do alkaline water, probably that's where the range you're going to be on, probably even lower than that. Most of them will be between 20 and 50 ppm. So, you know, if you want to use hydrogen water, and you should use it every day, you want to have probably the best bottle on the market, which is this one here. Now, let me show you something else. Hydrogen, what is it equivalent to? Well, if you do ingest 900 ppm, parts per million of hydrogen, which this bottle can create in about 3 minutes, that's equal to the antioxidant power of about 55 grams of vitamin C. Now, in order to get 55 grams of vitamin C, you can only do that by infusion therapy. You get an IV place with a bag, you put it in a bag, and that goes into your bloodstream directly. You can never, ever absorb to your gut when you eat 55 grams. So the max you can typically absorb is a few grams. That's it. So that's extremely, extremely powerful. And then drinking about 2 liters of hydrogen waters per day, which is what I do, is about the equivalent of eating about 1,500 bananas and 1,000 apples and getting the equivalent of the antioxidants that are in these two fruits. Absolutely fascinating and you know, kind of just crazy. Now, Why is the molecular hydrogen so cool? Because look at this. Look how small it is compared to all the other antioxidants you can have in your body, compared to vitamin C, coenzyme Q10, glutathione, one of our very important internal antioxidants that we form. And it's even cooler because not only is this so small and can penetrate every single cell, but it can also trigger the enhanced function and production of glutathione and other antioxidants that our body forms. So not only does it work directly as an antioxidant, it also triggers others to do much better. So really, really cool stuff. Now, science caught on that, of course, and we know, this is a paper that was written in 1975, believe it or not. And I had to kind of black out here the word what it was treating, because we are not in the business of treating diseases typically when we talk about alternative medicine products or alternative kind of integrative kind of things. So in this case, I just kind of blacked it out. However, we know now since about 40-something years that hydrogen by itself can have extremely beneficial effects in various conditions in the body. And this is, these papers are really prestigious journals where they were published in. And this was the one that was published in 2007, and that resurrected this whole new industry and research in hydrogen water and hydrogen itself as antioxidants. Now, this is just to show you until about 2013, 3 years ago, how explosive the growth of publication was when it comes to hydrogen research. So right now it's completely exploding, something we have also seen in the last few years with essential oils. More and more valid research is coming out showing how it works and how it works on the molecular level. When I talk about hydrogen water, I also need to talk about your gut, because did you know that your gut is producing about 1 liter of hydrogen water every single day? Yeah, your gut is separating water and produces hydrogen. And if you do not have that amount of hydrogen production in your gut, you're going to have suboptimal health in your gut. There's a bunch of health conditions that are associated with that. So you really want to make sure that you have enough production by having a good, healthy gut flora, we call this, or a healthy biome, we call it, in the gut, which is just basically telling different type of bacteria that are working to your benefits. And the other thing is you can always add some more. And research shows that whenever you add a little bit more hydrogen, it will have additional beneficial effects to the liter that you already produce. So if you ask me, is it toxic? Well, my answer is, well, you produce already 1 liter a day anyway. You just want to improve that production. Now, as a scientist and a physician, I really like this one because it shows that the hydrogen molecules can regulate gene expression. What does that mean? Genes are the ones, the ones that you got from mom and dad when you were born. They in your DNA. And the genes will basically tell the cells and the different organs in your system what to do at any given time of the day. And so hydrogen can interact with those genes and change their expression, meaning that they are more active or less active. And it's absolutely fascinating when you look at that, because here is just the beginning of this whole research field where it shows how many different genes it just changes by just drinking, a few ounces of this hydrogen-rich water. So is it really safe? Well, yeah, it's not only safe, it's beneficial, right? In fact, I just told you, your gut produces about 1 liter of it. And if you produce less of it, you're in trouble. And a study in Japan just showed not just the beneficial effects for pregnant women, but also for the newborns, right? There's no toxicity because the byproduct of this free radical neutralizing reaction is basically hydrating your cells. You're creating water. Now, the higher the concentration that you form, and this one forms 900 ppm, the best kind of product on the market right now, you might feel or taste a little bit the chemicals, not the chemicals, the minerals in the water. So it smells like a little bit of soft water. If you have a water softener somewhere in your garage, that's a little bit how it would taste. Okay. Now, there's an entire industry in Asia right now where you can go to resorts, hydrogen resorts, and get your bath, your hydrogen bath. So you can really have your entire body emerge into the hydrogen water. You can go into treatment rooms where you get hydrogen inhalation, or you can get topical hydrogen, like in the bath, for example, or you can just drink it, internalize it. So you can do 3 things. You can do inhalation, ingestions, and topical application. Okay. Now in Japan, if you want to join a gym, they're going to advertise the gym by having hydrogen produced in the gym. And sorry for my dogs, we rescue dogs. Those who don't know me know that. And so every once in a while when I do private kind of home recordings, I'm going to get some barking on the movie. But here, the gyms are advertising with hydrogen bottles, and they have big hydrogen generators. So when you work out, you could use hydrogen water. So why is that important? Because research shows that when you hydrate yourself with hydrogen-rich water before you work out, you are going to have a reduced blood lactic acid level, and therefore a better muscle function. So when you work out, you produce acid in your muscle, and basically this is neutralizing the acid in the muscle and makes your muscle work finer. Now, this was also shown in different kind of research here, where it shows just hydrogen in sports medicine is really a new field. And it improves your oxidation in the muscle, and then again, neutralizes your acid or your lactic acid that forms. And so you have a better exercise performance. That's a really cool trick. And if you really want to know what I do, I take this, I put at least 1 or 2 drops of peppermint into here, and I drink peppermint hydrogen water, and that will increase my performance. Now, for animal lovers, the same thing is for horses, right? So I just want to show you, it's not just for humans, but also for racehorses, for example, that they do much better when they drink some hydrogen water. So how is this all possible? Well, you would think it's all too good to be true. Well, the truth, it's not actually, the water that is doing it. The body does these things. When you supply the body with the right nutrition, or with hydrogen water in this case, the body knows what to do with it. And the hydrogen water basically enhances the capabilities of the cell, allowing the bodies and the cell to do more and your body to function more optimally. That's that simple. Okay, so to summarize the benefits of your hydrogen water, it's a really, really strong antioxidant, and therefore it can reduce free radical damage in your body and in your cells. It fuels the ATP, or the energy engine, that powers every cell in our body by bringing in oxygen, at the same time then neutralizing the free radicals that are produced, and then hydrating the cells. So it's a triple effect, which is really, really nice. And then, of course, it influences also our genes to support healthy body functions. And we're talking about the variety of different body functions. And the research is so fresh on this. Just stay tuned for the next few years. You're going to see so many wonderful things. Now, you might ask yourself, what is it then with those waters in these holy places, like Lourdes in France, right? There's places in Mexico and Romania, in Asia, in China, I think. And people go there and collect the water, and then miracles have been described. Well, when you look at one thing, what's the common thread between all these kind of holy water places? Well, the common thread is they all produce hydrogen-rich water. So what these people do, they drink hydrogen-rich water. They travel a long way to get it, and probably it's not as high in a concentration. Now you can have it in your own bottle and create your highest concentration, which is almost 1,000 parts per million, and drink it right away. So with that, I think we really have found the absolute perfect kind of fountain of youth. And so the last thing I wanted to do is to show you a little bit how that works. So we have a button here on the bottle. And so if I click it a couple times, it will run for about a minute. Now you see it starts blinking. And maybe I will turn off the light so see a little bit. Oh, no, you see very well what happens. You see how it forms? All these bubbles that are forming, they're forming down here on a plate, on a titanium-based plate. If I turn it around, you might see this a little bit. And it is a light for you to see that. And now you see how these bubbles come up. This is hydrogen. Now, hydrogen is going to be in water solution and also in the air. So it will, some of them will go basically as bubbles and escape. So how quickly should you drink that bottle? Or that the water that you produce in a bottle, typically within about 10 to 15 minutes. If you wait longer, you're going to have more and more water coming back together. Remember, we are separating the water. There's still plenty of water in it, but now there's plenty of oxygen and plenty of hydrogen also. And the longer you let the bottle just stand there, the more likely it will come back together to water. Okay. Now the other thing that's going to happen is, let's say if you put in maybe an ice cube or two, when you make it cold, you're going to have more of these bubbles in the solution. Now you see it's over. We did a 1-minute mode. We created about 500 parts per million here. And now this is something you can drink. Okay. And I will just show you how that is done. Okay. Wonderful. So this is really cool. How do you make this work? Well, there's a little button here that you barely see. I will open here and then you can see how that works. So you see here is an USB port. You got a cable with it, and this is how you're going to be able to load that bottle. And it will load you, if you load it fully, takes about a couple hours, and you are going to have 30 loads for a 900 ppm kind of water, or about 50 loads for about a 300 to 500 ppm worth of water. You can easily take it apart, so let me just show you that. I will take this real quick, put it in here. Here we go. Empty the bottle out. Almost done. Stay with me. Okay. This is all pure health that I'm putting here into this glass, or this cup. All right, so here it is empty. And then the really cool thing is, so here you click it close, you can open that, take that away. You can take the lower part away, so you can clean the bottle. And here you see the titanium plate, and all you need to do if you want to clean it is just to rinse it with water. I use some foam, some essential-based oil foams to kind of clean it out a little bit, and I'll let it rinse for a few seconds, and then you put it back together, and you're ready to go again. So with that, I hope you have a little bit better idea what this is all about, and you now know a little bit about the science and why I, as a physician and a scientist, I'm completely excited about a product like that, because it's one of the simplest way to start treating or supporting patients. And I can say treat because this is water. I can treat with water. I can hydrate patients, and you can too. So there's no compliance issue, anything like that. So with that said, I hope you had a good time, and I see you later on again with another little video clip. Thanks. Bye-bye.